Hey there, I'm Adrienne Fuller, and as a speech therapist and private practice owner, I know that insurance billing can be a little confusing and a little overwhelming. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about some common mistakes that I've made and I've seen others make in our insurance billing class, and also along the way as I've been or become a mentor to small and medium sized private practices. So, let's talk about some common billing mistakes and how you can avoid them. Now, I know that you did not get into therapy, into private practice to bill insurance, and that part can really feel like a headache. So, let's talk about some common billing errors and how to avoid them. All right, the first one is incomplete or inaccurate claim forms. Now, if you go back just a couple of videos, I did a extensive video on, and when I say extensive, 8 minutes. Maybe it was longer than that. But the thing is, the HIPAA 1500 form is the claim form used to bill insurances. That can be in a paper form or electronic, but it's really important that you understand what what information is needed in each blank and where you can find that information. But it's also important that the information that you put there is, in fact, accurate. So, a typo, another thing that I see a lot is not knowing the child's name or the proper spelling of it. A lot of times, if there's a junior or if there's a third, like John Smith the third, if that's not in there, so you have to. The date of birth sometimes is inaccurate, or sometimes if you use the wrong place of service code, or if you don't put a modifier in. All of those things can get your claim kicked back. And so, what that does when your claim is kicked back, that means the insurance company is saying, we need more information and we are not releasing these funds yet. And so, especially in the beginning, as you're building your practice, man, I remember, and even now, a claim form that or a claim that's rejected or sent back to us, that just upholds cash flow, right? And it's really important that we keep our cash flow healthy. So, how you can avoid this errors in this area is to make a checklist until you get really familiar with the billing. I don't know if any of you remember, but in way back in the day when I was a teacher, a special ed teacher, we had what's called a rubric. And so we would give a rubric to all of our kids and they would use it to kind of check their writing. Like, does it have a title? Does it have 3 paragraphs? And I know that's so antiquated. But if we go back to kind of that way of thinking when it comes to billing, it really helps us make sure that it's clean, the claim is clean and it's complete every single time. So just be sure to double check those details, okay? Number two, incorrect diagnosis or CPT codes. And so using that wrong CPT code, and when I mean that's that 5 digit code, that's 92507, 973, excuse me, 97532 or 97530, the CPT code, okay? But if your codes don't match and or they're outdated, it's going to get flagged, that claim. So just be sure that those ICD-10 codes, so CPT codes, tell the insurance company um, what exactly you did on your claim form. I did speech language therapy 92507. But the ICD-10 codes tell the insurance company why you did it because it's the diagnosis code. So it's really important that you put the right diagnosis code and that you make sure that it's the most up to date and specific code that you can find. So just be sure that your diagnosis code will support the codes, okay? So you might want to invest in books that will give you those ICD-10 codes. There's also great websites like ICD-10.com, or if you happen to take an insurance course, Shameless plug, but we have an insurance course with a download of all some of the codes that you use. What I find the most helpful when I'm billing is to just use a little sticky. It's a good thing I'm doing this at my desk, but I use a sticky note with all the common codes that I use, and I just put it right on my laptop because I need those codes handy so I can kind of make sure I have access to them without having to go 10 places to find them. All right. And the next common mistake that I find in billing is ignoring filing deadlines. So when you're building your private practice, you're wearing all the hats. And I understand you're wearing all the hats. I've worn all the hats. So sometimes the things we don't like to do or the things we feel the least comfortable doing are the things we put off, right? For me, that was billing. I was really uncomfortable with billing at the beginning because it's so many things, right, to remember. But almost all insurance companies have filing deadlines. Some are as quick as 90 days. And so some go to 180 days, some go to 365 days. You have a whole year. But what you don't want to happen is you wait to bill and wait to bill and wait to bill because this insurance company is a pain, but this one's paying me. I understand it. Human nature. We do what we're comfortable and we're good at, right? We should do that. But if there's something that you're ignoring, find out why you're ignoring it. Ask yourself, why am I ignoring this? It may be time to outsource it. It may be time to ask for help because sometimes it's just a little fix that can make a huge difference. Okay. So how to avoid missing out on getting reimbursed because you've waited too late is submit often. For me, I think at the very least, you should bill once a week. At the minimum, once a week, right? But things happen. I think best practice every day or 2 to 3 times a week. So you've always got a nice flow coming into your practice of cash because there are expenses that you need to pay. And if you have a staff, you will need to pay payroll, right? So also know the filing deadlines. There was a video that I made that talked about what to do once you get into a plan. And one of the things is ask them questions like, what are my filing deadlines? Is pre-authorization needed? Like you can check that video out, but it's really important that you know their filing deadlines. If you perhaps missed this step, we all miss steps. Just go back and ask your provider rep. Another thing would be to use some kind of a tracking system. If you're using an EMR, it's really good to use that to track when the dates are due. You can use a spreadsheet. So you don't have to be the most tech savvy person to keep track of deadlines. You can use a spreadsheet. You could even use reminders on your phone or a notebook, but it's whatever you're going to use. Just be sure that you're consistent with it and you stick with it. Where people go wrong and where I've gone wrong is one day I use a paper planner, one day I use my phone, one day I use something, and it's like everything is everywhere. So if you use whatever it is you're going to use it and stick to it. All right. Woo! The next step, the next common mistake, number 4, I've done this, and that is not following up on denied claims. Once I have gotten all of the energy in my body to submit the claim, and then it comes back denied, well, then I'm like, what more do you want from me? And so it is I understand how you would feel. And it's frustrating. Like I'm angry. I'm upset at myself. I'm upset at the insurance company. But what you don't ever want to do, my friend, my love, is ignore it. Put it aside. So remember, if you're setting aside time for billing every single week, putting denied claims or catching up or resubmitting them is one of the tasks that would go with this. with this or during this time, because if you ignore it, it's literally like you're leaving money on the table. And most of us would not do a whole therapy session or a month of therapy sessions and then just say, don't worry about it. I got it. If you want to do that, that's the beauty of owning your own practice. You can say, don't worry about it. I got it. But if this is funds that you are counting on, which this is why we got into business, and that's fine that's why we got into business. Don't let those denied claims go unnoticed or unchecked, okay? Because many things are just small fixes, and it just needs to have fixed. It needs to be fixed, and then you just need to resubmit the claim. So here's how you can avoid this. Always review your explanation of benefits and denial notice and try to understand why your claim was denied. And then resubmit the claim as soon as possible. And then keep detailed notes of conversations with insurance rep so you can document the process. So after you get off the phone with any insurance rep, you should always get a reference number for that call, because those calls are recorded. And so make sure you're keeping track of that and just keep yourself organized that way. All right. Number 5. I am ashamed to say, you guys, I've done all of these things, but is not verifying benefits before treatment. So it is so important that before you start treating any kid, adult, family member, whatever, you need to verify benefits. It doesn't matter what the family tells you they have. It doesn't matter how confident they are when they say it. It is your practice and it's your rules. You need to have a really good understanding of what that plan looks like. And unless it's like a Medicaid plan, which for the most part, many Medicaid plans that are like under the same HMO, the same company, are pretty much are kind of the same, right? I don't find that with commercial plans. A lot of times commercial plans are kind of different. So two patients could have United Healthcare, and I'm using them for an example, Cigna, whatever commercial, but that plan could be totally different. All right. So make sure that you verify every plan, that you know if there's a deductible, if there's a copay, if they have a hard limit on visits. You want to know all of that before you start. For me, in the beginning, I was so focused on getting started and getting started quickly with a patient because I wanted to start the therapy process. Let's get this kid talking. Or whatever your business is, right? Even if you're a mental health therapist, like, let's get this process started so you can be free, or you can, whatever it is. But if you are not sure about how you're going to bill or what the billing looks like, you want to slow way down. A lot of times for us, parents will call and they're really anxious to get started. It's almost like they're on fire, right? They'll call and then they'll call again and then they'll call again. You can call every day, all day, but I cannot make this appointment until I am clear about what this insurance plan is. All right. That's super important. All right. All right. So how to avoid this? Verify benefits for every new patient and then re-verify benefits if someone returns. And then ask insurance company about the copay, deductibles, authorization requirements. And heads up, some plans will require the evaluation be authorized, and then they will require that the actual treatment be authorized, one or both. So just make sure on that call that you're very clear about what it is, and also be sure again to document with a reference number in case there is a dispute. That call can be pulled up, because just because they answer the phone and they work for the insurance company doesn't mean that they always know what they're talking about. And I love everyone, but I have found that to be the case when I've called insurance companies, and sometimes it's like, let me call back and talk to someone else. Okay. Just a real moment here. All right. So those are my mistakes, the very common mistakes that I have found that help, um, that will help you avoid denials and claims being kicked back. So here are some things that you can do just to be sure that you stay on top of your billing and is successful. Stay organized. A good system is your best friend. Train your team. So if it's you, get all the training you need. No one ever taught us how to do this in grad school or in college or wherever we were trained, probably for the most part. So you may need some training. It's okay to say, I need training, take classes, read a book. You're watching this video. That's always super helpful. Um, if you have staff, be sure that they come to you trained and you continue to train them. And then don't be afraid to ask for help. So if you're feeling stuck, reach out to colleagues. Some of my best friends also own private practices, and I am always on the phone like, hey, I'm stuck on this, can you help? All right, so ask friends and colleagues. Also, we offer a billing class that is called Insurance Billing Basics for Therapy Practices that we would love to have you. We also host a monthly office hour for live questions for those times that you feel stuck. You're like, I don't understand why this claim is not being paid. So that is also an option. But if you're like, no, I don't want to take your class, there is plenty of free content on things like this. YouTube has plenty of free content on billing, but just make yourself that you're always learning about the process, because the more informed you are, even if you end up hiring a billing person, the better the billing becomes for you. So this might feel at the moment like it's a very hard thing, but you can do hard things. And anything that we keep doing over and over is something that eventually becomes easier. So if you've loved this video, please like and subscribe. But I'm really wishing you the best. And until next time, you keep billing and do your very best. And until next time, bye.